Detachment is not measured by what you possess externally. Detachment is measured by the state of your mind. If you are not elated by worldly happiness or dejected by worldly miseries, these are the two tests. Sukhe dukhe same kritva. You can take them both in your stride, like the winter and summer seasons that come and go. That is an indication that you are detached. Now in this verse, Shree Krishna further emphasizes. He says, Arjun, truly the person with wisdom sees that the karma yogi and karma sannyasi are really the same. There is no difference. You will say, how can they be the same? One is a renunciant, an ascetic, a sadhu, and this other one has got his family, his children, his parents. How can they be the same?
Bhagavad Gita Chapter 5. Verse chanting is followed by translation and commentary by Swami Mukundananda.
sankhya-yogau prithag balah pravadanti na panditah ekamapyasthitah samyag ubhayor vindate phalam yat sankhya prapyate sthanam tad yogairapi gamyate ekam sankyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sa pashyati.
Only the ignorant speak of Sānkhya, renunciation of actions, or karma sanyās, and karma yoga, work in devotion, as different. Those who are truly learned say that by applying ourselves to any one of these paths, we can achieve the results of both. The supreme state that is attained by means of karma sannyas is also attained by working in devotion. Hence, those who see karma sannyas and karma yoga to be identical truly see things as they are. Now this is a mind-blowing statement. Imagine the highest kind of philosophy. Shree Krishna says, Arjun, the real knowledge is that there is no difference between karma yoga and karma sannyas. Why? Because if your attitude is, whatever I am doing is for the pleasure of God, then it doesn't matter what you are doing. Somebody could be a king for the pleasure of God. Somebody could be a preacher for the pleasure of God. Somebody could be a businessman for the pleasure of God. Once you are established in your eternal constitutional position as the servant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jivara Swarupaha Krishner Nityadas. The Swarup of the soul is Das of Bhagavan. So when you accept that attitude of servitude, then whatever you do is for the service of God. Externally it may seem so different. There is one saint called Parikshit, Raja Parikshit. He is going around with bow and arrow because he has to rule a kingdom. If he doesn't maintain control, then the miscreants are going to start creating trouble. So he goes around with a bow and arrow. And there's another saint called Mahavir or Jad Bharat. He puts even one foot very carefully, no ant should die under my feet. Apparently, there's such a huge distinction in what they are doing. But if you do an internal inquiry, you will come to know that both of them are doing it all as a service to the Supreme. One disciple asked, Guruji, what sadhana should I do to reach God? Guruji said, start running and think that Shree Krishna is running with me. He said, Guruji, can I not attain God while walking? Guruji said, walk and think that Shyam Sundar is walking with me. Guruji, is it possible to reach God while standing? Yes, stand and think that Bhagavan is in front of me. Guruji, is it also possible to reach God while sitting? Sure. You sit and make Shree Krishna sit in front of you. The point is, yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do it for my sake. So it is not mere renunciation that leads to God. Meena snana para fani pavana bhung meshascha parnashano nirashah khalu chatako hinitaram shete bile mushaka bhasmo dhulana tat paraschahi kharo dhyana anusakto bakaste sarve nahi yanti moksha padavim bhaktim bina Shri Hare. This verse of the Sukti Sudhakar states that, look, if mere bathing in the Ganga, in the holy waters, was sufficient, then the fish that resides there would be the biggest saint because it lives in the Ganga. So, Meena Snana Para Fani Pavana Bhung. If the snake, it subsists just by doing pranayam, by breathing. So, if you say, okay, I'm only doing pranayam, I've given up my food, so now I'm spiritually elevated, then the snake is the most elevated. And take a look at the goats. They only subsist on leaves. So not even kandmul, the rishis in the forest, they eat kandmul, fruits and berries. And the goats, they are eating only leaves. So then the goats should be the most renounced. Bhaktim binaha Shri Hare. Without love for God, the goal will not be reached. So Kabir ji has put it so well. Prema bhav ek chahiye, bhes anek banaya, chahe ghar mein vas kar, chahe van mein jaya. So this is a very subtle point which has been stated here. Each of us needs to understand it in depth. Then you will grab spirituality from the core. Otherwise, we get caught in preconceived notions of what is spirituality. So, it is not merely by renouncing home that you become spiritual. There's the story of Sariputra, disciple of the Buddha. Now the Buddha was recruiting monks. That was part of his work, his mission. And he had 10,000 monks with him, sadhus. So one of the chief amongst them was Sariputra. With great spirit of renunciation, he had rejected all his worldly apar dharma and come. And he would just sit and meditate. So the Buddha said, now, I need you to go out and preach. Sariputra said, but Guruji, I find so much of bliss in meditation, I will not go out and preach. The Buddha said, that is exactly why I need you to go out and preach. First you were attached to home, now you are attached to your meditation. Enlightenment is beyond both of these. You are only attached to the pleasure of the Supreme. And whatever He wants for you, that is what you want for yourself. So when we reach that state, spirituality is not selfish, it is selfless. Now, of course, it's a journey. Say, okay, now Swamiji, how do we reach the Himalayas? Doesn't matter, let the goal be clear, and one step at a time we will keep reaching there. So, the aim of spirituality is to develop that kind of self-sacrifice. Now, if you are running after moksha, my moksha, then you are even more selfish than the worldly people. Because they are selfish, and you see so many babas and sadhus, they are actually so selfish. And that is why they become angry on small, little things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Kami, Sakale, Ashant. These people are always ashant. Those who have the desire bhukti, the desire for mukti, the desire for siddhi. Sakale ashant. Krishna bhakt, nishkam, sadaiva shant. The Krishna bhakt has renounced these desires in love, has accepted a higher desire to love and serve the Supreme. Now the test of that is that you are growing in shanti. Na dveshti, na kankshati, that stage is coming. Because in the spiritual realm, it's your inner intention which is most important. You may have heard that story from me many times, one of my favorite stories, that there was this tribal living in Sundargarh district of Odisha, who always wanted to go for the Rath Yatra of Lord Jagannath in Puri. So it was quite a distance. He would make a plan and then the program would get cancelled. Then again he would make a program. Every year the Rath Yatra comes. Again it would get cancelled and you'd say, Jagannath Ji's grace is not there on me. I am so wretched, I am so fallen. So the 40th year in succession, when his plan got cancelled, because some member in his family got COVID, the government was not allowing any movement, he started weeping. The local panditji came and said, Bhai, why are you so unhappy and miserable? He said, Jagannath Ji's grace is completely there, not there on me. I have been planning for 40 years and still I have not been able to go for his Rath Yatra. So the Pandit said, do one thing. I have been going for the last 40 years. And I went this year also because I had the double vaccine certificate. So you do one thing. The punya, the fruits of those 40 years of Rath Yatra, you please take it. And the yearning you have inside yourself, that vyakulta, to go and see Lord Jagannath, you please give it to me. Because ultimately, that yearning is the real thing, the essence. It is what is important. So in the spiritual realm, now you may do all the puja and pat, but the point is that have we developed that kind of longing or not? So that longing is the critical thing. That is why there was one blind man who used to go to the temple. The temple was 3 miles away from his house. He would walk with a stick every day. And somebody said that, why do you go? He said, to the temple, because Lord, the Shree Vigraha is there. And that person said, but you cannot have darshan because you don't have eyes. You cannot see the Lord. He said, I cannot see the Lord, but the Lord can see me, right? The Lord knows that I am trying my best. The Lord knows that I am putting in my effort with whatever He has given. If He had given me eyes, I could have seen Him. But He has not given me eyes, but at least He has given me legs. I am using those legs. So, that is the main point, the inner state of our mind. And hence, Shree Krishna says that both of those who see the karma sannyas and karma yoga as the same, they are truly knowledgeable. They are the ones who truly see.